instead of months of content in 2 days, we shifted to 3 months of content done for you in 2 days.
You need to focus on the goal every day, keep the same vision, but do it for the journey.
Oli.
So, what's happening today?
No, we're here. We're doing a podcast. This is first of many, hopefully, but I just wanted to get here with you and just do a deep dive on who we are, what we do. We're in the similar industry, and I feel like we have lots of good things to talk about, share some knowledge, share a little bit of background info on each other. And yeah,
sure.
Why don't we start with you, man? So tell me, like, who are you? What do you do?
That's a big question. I'll start with this. So I moved from Quebec 4 years ago, moved from Quebec to Vancouver. I started my business about 3 years ago. And I've been just grinding since, I've been trying to scale the business, acquire more client, building the team. So no, that's me pretty much.
I love that, man. Walk me through when you first got started. What made you want to start a video marketing agency?
Yeah, so there's a big story to this, and I could go more back in my story in Quebec. And when I leave Quebec, so 4 years ago, I got kicked out of my house in Quebec. And so I went living with my uncle for about 6 months. And I was living a happy life, but I was missing something inside me, like when you wake up in the morning and you can achieve something great in your life, but you're still in your box of comfort. And I wake up one morning and I realized that if I wanted to achieve something great in my life, I needed to get out of this box, go, explore new land. So one morning, I put a bed in my car and same day called my boss at the time and I told them that I was quitting. And by the same day, I was leaving on the road for Vancouver.
Wow. So, okay, let's unpack a little of that. So what made you get kicked out, first of all, and what were you doing as your work that you quit?
Back in Quebec, I was like a very different person. I was always doing some party. I was doing some drugs sometime. I was smoking a lot. I was always with different girl. And so I had a fight with my stepfather and he decided to, leave me go. So kick me out of the house. And I was telling my mom because my mom, she wanted to move with me, but I told my mom that it was my life, He kicked me out, not us. So I told her, stay with him. I'm going to go live with my uncle for 6 months. And it was nice. I was close to my family, close to my grandfather. I was close to everything I like, and I was living a good life, like good house. I had a job, but something was missing inside me, So even if I did speak English at the time, zero English, I just decided to, like I say, go out of the box and go see if there's something new for me, for my life.
So you packed the car, you put a bed in, and then what, you drove out to Vancouver?
Yeah, basically. So the same day, put the bed in my car, like everything I have in my life, like a couple bucks, and just decide to move. I called my mom. I told her, Mom, I'm leaving the province. I'm going to BC. And by the same day at night, I was driving to Vancouver. So it took me 4 days to come here. Almost die on the way because I crashed my car in the ditch in the middle of Saskatchewan. So
was it winter?
Middle of January. So sleep in my car all night long, pass out 2 times because it was so cold, and figure out a way to get my car back on the road and come to Vancouver.
Wow, I feel like there's never a good time to be in Saskatchewan, but in the middle of winter in a ditch, that's definitely not good. So what happened? Like, how did you survive?
That's a long story, but when I crashed my car, I was trying for like 2 hours to get the car back on the road. And I finally put the car back on the road. And I was in the middle of the road and the highway. So put the car back on the highway, try to start the car, no battery. So now there's no battery in the car, trying to pull out my phone, no battery in my phone. So I was literally to myself alone in the middle of the highway in Saskatchewan. So sleep in the car all night, pass out 2 times because it was so cold. And in the morning, just when I saw the light, I came outside, waved my hand, and there were like a family of 4 people passing by. So they come to me, and I was literally in the car, like I was looking so bad. I was in my pajama with 4-piece on me because I was so cold during the night. I was like literally looking like someone who's gonna die. And they came to me, opened the door, and they take me with them. They told me like, came in their car and they told me, come with us, we're gonna take you somewhere. And at this time also I did speak 0 English. So I didn't even know what they were saying to me. And I just trust them to go with them. And they took me somewhere that they could take my car, bring it back, and do all the repair. But so that's the first big story, that I was like, holy moly, I need to, that's big, like almost died this night. Do I want to continue and to go to BC, I was afraid because 0 English, no money, I had literally nothing. I was on my credit card, I had like $1,000 to spend, and that's it. So I just decided to come in Vancouver. I found a job in construction. So I was working for 7 months in construction with this guy. And that's where everything started, because I started to make more money, just enough paycheck to paycheck, but I had enough to survive. I was still living in my car for 7 months. So when I first moved out to Vancouver, I was living in my car for 7-8 months.
What's that like? Did you have to get like a gym membership to go shower or something?
Yeah, so I had a gym membership. I went, shower over there. But it was tough, I was living in my car, trying to work in my car. And it's this kind of situation that you're alone. You got nothing. You got nobody to help you. And you need to switch your mindset. And I always had this type of mindset of, it's my fault. I always blame everything on me because that's life. So I was just improving every day, trying to make it better every day, 1% better, trying to, start a business. And at some point, I leave my job, and actually I got kicked out of this job. And I went to work in a online casino, so in a building. I went working there for like about 5 months. And the guy from the construction company, they called me and they told me, do you want to come film some content for us?
The guy you used to work for?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So he called me and it's like, come with us. We're going to give you a good salary and you're going to make some content for us.
How did he know that you would be a good fit?
Because I was telling him that I wanted to quit the job and start a business. Because even before that, I was doing some trading, drop shipping, I had a windows cleaning businesses. So I had some experience in business. I always knew I wanted to do business, to be a business owner. So I started other businesses and it just worked out. I told him that I wanted to start this business and he told me that come with us and we're going to give you some experience first. So
nice.
But now it's been a long road, lonely road. But also my wife, that's like the angel who came from the sky. Because
how'd you guys meet?
We meet really at the beginning when I first came to Vancouver.
So you were homeless when you met her?
Yes, I was living in my car.
Nice.
And so I told her, at some point she was in the car, like maybe 2 weeks after I arrived to Vancouver. And I told her that I was living in my car, and because she asked me, like, when do you take me to your place?
Yeah.
And I was like,
you're already here, right?
Yeah, that's basically what I told her. I told her, like, that's where I live, in my car. So, she's really an angel, because if she will have, like, just leave me, I don't think I will be the same person today and where I'm at today.
Wow. So what made her stick around? Because, like, I feel like, if you talk to, like, young girls these days, they're like, oh, that's a red flag. He lives in a car. But like, what made her stick around?
You know, there's a lot of girl who's gonna chase like the money or the status, but for her was the vision. When I was talking to her about who I want to become and who I want to go in the future, she believed in the vision and she's stuck with me now. So
And now you guys are married.
we're married. So we got married 6 months ago in Winnipeg. So I'm just blessed with the life I have today. Yeah. Even if I'm not where I want to be now, I came from so far away, like sometimes I think about this and I think it's really important to stay humble in your entrepreneur journey. Yeah. And I just look back and I'm very blessed with everything I achieved so far.
Absolutely, man. That's such an inspiring story. Obviously, like I kind of know the story. We talked about this beforehand, but like I didn't realize you were living in your car for that long because that sounds tough, man.
It was tough. I had some couple other story that we might share another time, but with this guy who hired me before I started my business, 100%, I went with him in Costa Rica because was the goal for him to scale his business from Vancouver to Costa Rica.
Nice. This was the same guy who called you up to come work on the projects?
The same guy.
Oh, nice.
So we scaled his business in about a year from Vancouver to Costa Rica.
What was he doing?
He was doing some construction.
Oh, nice.
So at the end of the 1 year, we were in Costa Rica filming. I was filming with him during the continent in Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and the crazy experience. I was filming at some crazy spot, or we can say dangerous. And that's where all my experience come from, from this guy. I was filming over there, making some content in some dangerous situation, and also, all getting this experience of all the stress that you need to manage on a shoot or all of this. Yeah. So when we come back to Vancouver after, maybe I last like 4 months, I will say, with him. And he kicked me out for the reason of I crashed the drone on one of the crane. Whoa. And the funny story is that this all week I was thinking myself, like, I need to quit. I need to start my business. I had zero money, but I was believing in myself so much that I was like, I'm going to make it work, So all the week, at some point I was on the construction job site doing the drone. I was kind of like just in my mind, and I crashed the drone on the crane. So it was a good thing for me because the guy, like he liked me a lot and like all the results we did for his business. But after he was like some trouble with the GC, and so he kicked me out, and I was like, perfect, that's the perfect time for me to start my business. Wow. So I just started my business, get my first client.
So would you say crashing that drone and getting fired from that gig was the best thing that happened to your business?
100%. It was a push for me to leave this company and start my business. And it was really hard at the beginning, I had zero money. So like even for food, it was really hard to survive every day.
What would you eat?
Like ramen and not healthy stuff. But I was so focused on the business, and business, 90% of the work is mindset and 10% it's the actual work. And that's what I did. I knew nothing about this industry or how to gain some client, but every day I was on the ground, literally working 10, 12, 15 hours per day, every day since I started my business. Wow. So just hard work, At some point, you need to move from the hard work to working smart and to scale your business. But I will say for the first 0 to 10K, it's just hard work trying to put your business in front of more people, and also having a good offer that's going to help you to position your brand as a good solution for them. But for me, I didn't even speak English for the first, I will say, like 4 months of starting my business until I can have a good conversation with my prospect, my lead. But before that, my English was so bad, but my offer was so good for the business, then they were buying the same. So
what was the original offer?
So when I started my business was really more on the content creation side. So I was showing up and making like 10, 20 video in one day and come back to them every month. But it was simply just for the content creation. And at some point I realized that they don't want to buy just the content creation. They don't care about the video. They care about if they're gonna have some money back at the end of the month, So I switched my offer to doing more marketing for them. So not just the content creation, but also all the back-end funnel, the lead generation, client acquisition for them. So when I switched my business model to this offer, I could see like more like domain services.
And what was like the moment when you felt, wow, I made it, it's working?
I still don't think to this day I made it. It's a work in progress. But I'm very blessed of my life. I'm very humble. Like I told you, I came from so far. So just the fact that I can wake up every day and do whatever I want, that's the dream life for me. But for sure, I want to go achieve other of my goal and scale this business to
I love that.
multiple number.
What's your vision? Like, what is like some of the goals that you want to hit in the next few years?
I always tell to myself that before I'm 25, I'm going to be a millionaire. And since I'm in Quebec, I always had this vision. And for me, manifestation and just knowing what you want to do in life, it's going to give you a destination to reach. So it's been my dream. And business-wise, for my next media, I would like to scale this business to $1 million a month. So that's the plan. And after this, I would like to maybe invest in other business and just use this marketing agency as a leverage to scale other businesses and my power. So we'll see, but that's the vision.
Love that, man. Just walk me through what it's like to run the organization now. Like, is it just you? Well, like, tell me about your workflows and team and how you guys are able to do so much.
I'm always looking for the best people to work with me. So team is everything. You're never going to be able to scale a big business without people. And so it's been a way for me to being better at leading people, running the business as someone with experience. So, but I think that's how will I say it? Like, people build the business, not you. So you always need to go look for the best people, like KJ. KJ's
shout out.
Yeah, he's a player, So you need to find those type of people who's gonna believe in your vision. And the most important part is that you give them piece of the cake. There's too many people who's gonna do business and they're just too much greedy. So I think it's really important to find those good type of people and also make sure that they're gonna have a piece of the cake and they're gonna work with you, they're gonna scale your business.
Yeah, for sure. I always said, like, you can get there on your own, but you can get there faster with people. Right.
100%.
Key players, right?
You need to find the good people. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs also who are chasing their success. They see all this social media fame and some 18 years old kid in Miami. But they forget that it's not the destination, it's the journey. And there's a good quote I like. It's, the men who love walking will walk farther than the men who love the destination. And it's true. You need to focus on the goal every day, keep the same vision, but do it for the journey. Do it for the fun that you're going to have today. Like, you go out and meet some people, have some meeting, that's fun. If you do it for the destination, I feel like you're chasing and not attracting the success.
I love that, man. It's awesome. Sweet. What else?
Tell me more about you. Tell me more about your business.
What do you want to know?
Who you are. Like, how long have you been in Vancouver for?
Oh, man, I've been in Vancouver since 99. I was born in Ontario, but I lived in Iran for 6 years. So I moved back to Canada when I was 9. I didn't speak much English, so I learned it pretty quick. I was pretty young and impressionable, so I picked up the language within like 4 months, and yeah, it was a bit of a culture shock, a little bit of a different vibe, but I feel like as a 9-year-old, it's not terrible. You are in school, you're surrounded by kids, and you can pick up things pretty quick. But yeah, I ended up living in Vancouver and technically in the Tri Cities for a while. And I went to school. I was, my parents were accountants and they're like, yeah, you should become an accountant. I'm like, yeah, great idea. And I went to college for business and accounting and I didn't like it. So I dropped out. I did a bunch of courses and got a lot of credits, but I didn't end up following through and finishing it. So I mostly worked, jobs in the kitchen. I really like the thrill of being in a restaurant, the rush, the vibe. And I got a job as a dishwasher and worked my way up to a line cook and in a span of a few years. And I really enjoyed a high stress environment where I could work with teammates and get stuff done fast and, pretty much hang out with my friends at work, which is great. But, I quickly realized that's definitely not something that I can sustain for the rest of my life. Like I have big dreams and ambitions. I wanted to, have kids, have a family, buy a home and, be able to travel. But working in a kitchen, like doesn't really give you that kind of opportunity. It was pretty much making almost close to minimum wage with tip. So I decided, something had to change. And I went to school. I went to Vancouver Film School for digital design and I got a piece of paper that said I know how to do things, and I was able to get a job after in tech. I worked as a user experience designer for 8 years, and yeah,
What was the mindset shift that, the old Neema and the new Neema, the entrepreneur mind? What was the mindset shift that you had?
oh yeah. Well, the mindset shift was pretty clear. Like I was working a job, a 9 to 5, and I wasn't really in love with the work. I was like, this is fine. I have a steady paycheck. I have good benefits. I was able to buy my first place with that job, but I felt like my career progression is not very good or clear. And I feel like I have so much more to give than you know, what I can do at my 9 to 5. So COVID happened and I felt like that's kind of when I hit my lowest point where I was like, fuck, what do I do with my life? Because I don't want to be stuck at home working, showing up to these meetings, doing this unmeaningful work that isn't actually providing any results that are tangible for me to be able to celebrate and feel fulfilled with. So I said, I should did a deep analysis on what are the things that are going to make me happy. What are the things that I am genuinely interested in? I always like creating. I like photos. I was taking photos and videos and I was like, there's definitely something there. If I could do this all day, I'd be pretty happy. I enjoy it. So I decided to invest in myself. I had a chat with my partner. I'm like, I want to start investing into some gear and some courses. So I took $10,000 out of our savings, bought camera gear and invested in some courses. And we had a plan, like we got to pay this back within a year or else like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like wasting money. So that was the moment where I'm like, okay, pressure's on. I'm going to go all in on myself. And fast forward, last year I quit my 9 to 5 and I'm pursuing Megaphone full time and we're helping business owners. I actually get to meet people in person. We get to do meaningful work. We get to create together and collaborate and actually see results come in that we can celebrate together because that's for me felt great being able to see the value I can bring to the table to make a change and a difference in someone's business and their lives and their families. I felt like, okay, this feels great. I could definitely do this forever.
Yeah.
That's why I went all in.
Tell me more about your offer and your business.
So when I first started my offer, it was 3 months of it was 1 month of content in 2 hours. So we were able to shoot a month's worth of content in 2 hours, and it definitely got the attention of a lot of business owners locally. And yeah, I was able to get a bunch of business from that. I ran ads on it, and I had a system of how to triage people and walk them through the line and show them what we do to see if we can help them. And it definitely got a lot of interest and I got a lot of clients from it. But I quickly hit a brick wall where I'm like, okay, well, month of content is great, but like, what's the return on their investment? Like, what are they actually looking for? And for them, it was to actually grow their business with their branding. So instead of months of content in 2 days, we shifted to 3 months of content done for you in 2 days. So actually batching more content, finding more runway, creating offers for them, creating a funnel for them to be able to attract their ideal clients so they can actually have a clear conversion path, start working together on top of building their brand and being on top of mind. So that's the evolution of the offer so far.
Yeah, no, it seemed all easy to do, in the way you see it. But what's the main challenge of being an entrepreneur on a daily basis?
Yeah, being an entrepreneur challenge on a daily basis is you are your own boss. It's whatever output you put is directly correlated to the type of results you get for yourself. So like I need to make sure I'm on top of things every day, or else things can slip through the cracks and you could find yourself in a position where you're not making money, you're not helping people, and you're going to become irrelevant. So it's about staying relevant, staying on top of things, like whether it's trends, AI, new ways to acquire customers, or new content styles. It's just about focusing on being relevant and bringing that to the table for your clients.
Is there any secret key of being a good entrepreneur? Will you say, taking some tangible action, or like, what's the key of being a good entrepreneur?
I mean, I can speak for myself. The biggest shift for me when it came to being I would say, successful entrepreneur, I'm not in debt, I'm making money, which is, I guess, yeah, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like the thing that made a difference was actually investing in yourself, whether it's doing a course, learning new skills, or actually hiring a mentor, a business coach, someone that actually has done what you're trying to do. And instead of you figuring it out on your own, you're going to them to learn from them, implementing the systems that they built, learning it, and putting your own flavor on it to be able to reach more people and get more results. So the biggest thing for me was actually finding a mentor and getting coached on how to be better. Cause I never ran a business beforehand, right? Like I've never done sales. I never had to do any customer facing stuff. So it was all new to me, but I was excited because it was interesting. I knew that this is the path for me to be able to do the things I love, which is to help people create and people to get known and liked and trusted with content.
Yeah, and you're also the father of 2 daughters and your wife. How's life? How's managing your business plus all of this?
Well, I tell you, before kids, I had more time to work on the business. That's for sure. So like the grind was real. Like I would spend a lot more time working on the business, but now, having 2 toddlers, and you have to definitely time block when you can work on your business, because I don't have the luxury of working nonstop on the business. I have to be a partner, be a father. I have to allocate time, which is beautiful in its own way. It inspires me to be better. It drives me. Like they are my why. They're the reason why I want to do great things, because I feel like I want to afford them the opportunities that my parents afforded me to be able to do the things that I love, to be able to be as useful as possible on earth, to be a good contributor to society and actually do the things I love. But yeah, definitely being a father has its challenges with time, but it also, I could confidently say I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my kids, because they drive me to be way better than I used to be.
It's your why, and that's really important. And as a business owner, to have a destination to go. And I think what you need to start with, it's your why. Why you do everything in life. Because there's hard day that you're not gonna want to wake up and go to work and go chase your goal. But if you have a big enough why, something that's gonna pull you out, that's what you need.
Yeah, for sure. So before I had kids, my why was like, I want to live a life where it's, worth living. I want to be able to start a family. I want to buy a home. I want to be able to experience the world without having to be stuck and worried about, oh, how am I going to afford to do any of this? Because I knew my 9 to 5 had its limitations. I wasn't able to have as much freedom to be able to pursue the things I actually enjoyed. Whereas being an entrepreneur, you can, if you work hard, like good things happen. And it afforded me the opportunity to be able to chase after my dreams. And now I have my kids, bought my place, and I'm excited because I dreamt of this stuff when I was younger. I'm like, this is where I want to be. And if you keep that as your North Star, like you said, work at it every day, understand why you're doing the things you're doing. It's just a matter of time.
How did you learn marketing? Like, how did you learn to do all the script, all the back end funnel for your client? Like, you came from a tech company and now you're running your agency.
Yeah, there was a lot of overlap because when I was a user experience designer, there's a lot of like info gathering to be able to see what are the problems that this user is facing, what are the desired outcomes they have, and how do we get them across the finish line with a workflow that allows them that, right? And when it came to the marketing side, it's pretty much the same thing. Like we're looking at who are the audience that we're trying to attract? What are their problem points? What desired outcomes do they have? What are the things, what is the information that's actually holding them back? So there's a lot of overlap. It's just a matter of having those meaningful conversations to get that data point and speaking on them, right? So for me, the marketing side kind of came natural because I was already kind of doing it in a different field, but the overlap made it easier. But for sure, it was a lot of, sitting there, taking courses on people who are good marketers, watching free YouTube content online to be able to see how people are doing the things that they're doing and the results they're getting, and just getting enough information for you to install in your business so you can have that similar output. But, you can have all the information in the world, but unless you go do it and get some reps in, you're not going to learn. So it was about being interested enough to learn, but also to implement and execute on. So I got excited for when I had a shoot. I'm like, great, like we're going to be able to try a lot of different stuff out. We're going to be able to ask some questions that people might not be asking, or be able to talk about certain topics that they would have not thought about unless they had someone there to be able to get that juice out for them. So that was, for me, it was just learning from the best people that I look up to for their style, tonality, and results, and being able to do that for myself and putting the reps in.
Yeah. And there's a lot of marketing agents in Vancouver.
Is there?
I mean,
We got 2 at the table right now, right?
well, there's a couple more. And is there anything you will like to say to people who have been burned out before? Maybe like a prospect who would like to work with you, but they fear that they're going to be burned out again. What's your answer to this?
Yeah, I mean, burnout's a thing. I've felt burnt out, but if you just stick to a plan and a schedule and just show up no matter how you feel, then that's what's going to keep things moving, right? Doing things even if you don't feel like it. And like for me, when I felt burnt out, I relied on a lot of audiobooks. Like I would read a book by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. And I felt like, okay, burnout's gone. Like this guy talks about all the struggles that he went through his life and all the accomplishments he was able to achieve by just flipping the mindset on showing up, doing the things that you don't want to do it first. Right. And I feel like for me, anytime I feel burnt out, or if anyone I'm interacting with is having burnout, I'm just, think about the purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? And how can you set a plan that it's hard not to execute on? Because those are the reps that will generate the results you want for you to get out of that burnout phase, for you to be able to actually experience fulfillment on the things that you're putting efforts in.
Yeah, that's really good. And what was the lowest point of your story?
Man, it was definitely during COVID when I was sitting there alone at home. I wasn't even able to go to work. All my friends were at work. We used to have a sick office downtown by waterfront. We used to go for lunch every day. And the lowest point was being stuck at home on Teams and not being able to actually interact with people and do meaningful work. And I felt like that's not a way to go. I'm a pretty sociable guy. I like to be around people. So what can I do to experience that again? And that's literally when I'm like, I need to figure out a game plan on what I can do to not only grow my knowledge, to grow my wealth, but also to be helping people because I'm a people guy. I like people. I like being around people, and doing this allowed me to make great friendships, great partnerships. People that I've worked with in my first year, still friends with them today. We even went on trips and stuff. So um, that was, the lowest point was just being lonely.
Yeah, no, it's business. It's all about the people. There's a lot of young entrepreneur who just see business as a transaction, but it's an exchange of value. So the more value you can provide to people, the more you're gonna get in return. But like you say, it's all about the people. So what's the goal now for Megaphone? For the next 5 years?
Oh yeah, my 5 year plan is to niche down. Specifically, I'm working with dentists right now, and we have an offer to be able to get them 3 to 5 new Invisalign clients every month, which I think is a great offer and it's something that we're working on achieving. I've been able to do it with other niches, but I'm focusing in on the dental because I feel like dental is a industry that people need dentists and dentists need people, and there is obviously a lot of revenue to be generated, and it's not going to like wash up, it's not going to go away overnight, but it's actually helping people. Like it comes back down to people. You go see a dentist, you're going in with pain or no confidence, and you're coming out with pain relief and confidence. So that resonated with me where I'm like, I need to be able to niche down and help these people. And it's been great so far. So 5 years from now, I'd love to be able to continue to help dentists, maybe not just in lower mainland, but maybe across North America. But also eventually in 5 years, I'd love to be able to have a piece of a clinic. Like I'd love to be able to partner up and own a piece of a clinic so I can take care of their marketing while they take care of the things that they're good at. Because these guys went to school for a while. They've put in their hard work, but they're never taught how to run a business and market themselves. And there's definitely a gap. They need people to take that load off them so they can focus on the things that they're good at, because what they're doing is it's not easy and it takes a lot of schooling, right? So my vision is to fill that gap and eventually become not just a business owner but part clinic owner.
Yeah, that's a great plan.
Yeah, man.
And what's the thing you're gonna need to add in your business, or like what's the mind change you think you're gonna need to do to accomplish those goals?
Great question. The mindset shift is that you can't do everything by yourself. It all comes back down to people. You need the right people. You need the aces in their places to be able to scale the business to that level. Like if I want to be able to help as many people as possible, I'm only one guy. So it takes the right people. Like having guys like Jay, you have KJ, like having the right people and putting their aces in their places to be able to create less friction in your workflow so you can have more output and help more people. That's what it takes, right? Having a back end guy to be able to handle all the client acquisition funnels, so like I can focus more on growing the business, acquiring more clients, helping more clients succeed, and being able to just do the things that I love, right? Because like when I first started, I was doing the content strategy, filming the content, editing it, and posting. Whereas now it's like I mostly focus on client acquisition, client strategy, client success. And I have guys like Jay and my editors and my assistant to be able to help me get through the finish line and do more. Yeah. And it takes a lot of good training, right? You have to be a leader. You have to have the vision of what you want to do. And I think you need to consistently communicate what that vision is so everyone's on board on where we're headed. And it takes a lot of good training, like having those one-on-ones. We have like weekly meetings where we're just talking about what worked well and what didn't, what's blocking you, what we need, right? And a lot of that I learned working in tech. So that's like really good insight on pushing out products through a big company and installing similar things in my business to be able to deliver.
Yeah, no, it's all about the people. It's all about dedicating your work and finding the good people who's gonna help your business scale. But great story. I'm very impressed by you came from far also, and you had to get out of your comfort zone, start your business, learn on the top, and you're doing pretty good now. So it was nice to have a chat with you.
Likewise, man. That was awesome. Now, I want to ask you one more question. With MyNext, what is your 5 year vision?
So my 5 year vision for MyNext it's to go worldwide also. I've been traveling for some client. I went in Germany, Miami, Costa Rica, Panama. So I like to travel with my client. So that's the goal. I want to find more business in Canada, US, and just travel with them. And at this stage also, I'm gonna hire other people and some city, like maybe like Miami, New York, that I can have some team over there and expand my market and help more people. Because we're mostly working with service-based businesses that doing over like 70K per month. And like you say, like clinic owner, they don't know how to do good marketing. They're too focused on their businesses. They're trying to provide more for their customer. They're always on site. They don't have time to make some content. They don't have time to run some meta targeting ads and some back end funnel. So it's really, a big exchange of value that we provide to them, and we literally scale the business, and we have also some guaranteed. So if they, example, don't achieve 30-50 lead per month, we're going to work for free for them. So they kind of trust us more because they know that if we don't provide any result, they're going to have us for free. So that's my game plan, just to double in on this, find the good people who's going to be able to help me and scale to the moon.
I love that, man. That's awesome. I want to talk actually a little bit more about, like, what was one moment where you're like, oh shit, where you dropped the ball and it's like, it was like pretty much a critical mistake that was made, and what was the lesson from it? You mentioned the drone story, but
Yeah, I mean, the drone story was a good thing for me, but I will say I made multiple mistakes building my business, but you learn along the way. So I don't look back to my story and I'm trying to do something different this time. I always trust the process, That's my story. Like everything since I left Quebec, there's maybe some bad thing I did, but you need to look forward. You can't look back. Every day as a business owner, you need to you need to take so much action in your business. You don't have time to look back. So, every day I'm always trying to put some action in the business. And yeah, I'm not, I don't look back to the error or the bad thing I did. So,
yeah. I have one story that really, I dropped the ball. I probably told the story 100 times, but I want to say it one more time because it's kind of a fun story because the lesson was great. And I got flown out by my client to San Diego and I was there to shoot content with him. But one of the key moments where we needed to shoot an interview between him and a few other people in the industry, the mic didn't work. The mic wasn't fully plugged in. So we got footage with no good audio and it was throwaway. We like, what can you do with it? And for me, I felt like, holy shit, like the whole trip is kind of ruined and it's all on me. So I took full ownership, and luckily the guy I was working with, shout out Sal Tusi, he was really nice. He's like, hey, don't worry about it. Just pick yourself up, forget about what you did, but remember what the lesson is and carry that forward. And I felt like that moment, I was like beating myself up and I was like not in the right mindset, but with that word of wisdom, I was able to quickly snap out of it and focus forward, like you said. And we ended up just, cutting our losses, but we ended up doing quality work right after, right? This is where we fucked up. And now here's how we're going to make it up. And now what can we do so we don't make this mistake ever again? So it's about installing some processes in place to make sure you have some mic checks, some basic stuff, right? And exactly, these are the lessons that shape you. So like, I guess anyone listening who is, fearful of, I don't want to make mistakes, you have to make those mistakes in order 100%. To grow. If you're not making mistakes on a daily, then like, what are you learning?
100%. And I was about to say that the reason why I don't do a lot of mistakes currently, it's because I've failed so many times in the past, like crazy failure, crazy mistake, whatever on the side of the business. Or, at some point I was traveling with a client in Germany and I missed my flight,
Yeah.
But
Is that when they flew you out first class?
100%, they took me first class ticket to Germany, and I missed my flight back to Vancouver.
Why'd you miss your flight?
Sleepover. I was on a. It's kind of a funny story, but I was in a kind of a yoga room with no Wi-Fi, nothing, with like stone wall, and I was just pass out. I was.
You were in deep sleep.
Oh yeah, I was in deep sleep. So whatever, I missed my flight, but the story is that I learned a lot from this mistake, and even talked with the guy, and he was zero like angry about this. He was just telling me some advice. He was literally telling me some advice because I missed the flight, some good personal advice, and I was like, that's such a good way to handle when you're making a mistake or when something bad happened. He just lose like 4K, and he's telling me some good advice. So the story is that you always need to learn something from your mistake. And like you say, like you should not be afraid to fail every day. As an entrepreneur, you need to fail every day. You need to learn something every day, and just go on. Even if the mistake is big, just don't make the mistake stop you.
Love that. 100%. So I guess closing remarks. Let's talk about it, man. What was your favorite part about today, I guess? I mean, I love sitting here chatting with you. This is a fun little project that hopefully we can do more of. But where do you see this going?
At the end of the day, it's all about the people. It's about helping other people, giving some advice, some good knowledge, and they take what they like from this episode. But for me, at least, that's the goal. It's to help other people, and also if they can learn something today, that is gonna make them faster, better. So that's it.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway too is all about the people and having the right people in the right place, right? Don't try to do everything yourself. Just find your aces and put them in their places. Whether, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, whatever, right? Get the right people to do the right things. And my biggest lesson is like finding the right people instead of choosing the path of like, this is an easy option for me to pick this person because I have a relationship with them. But if the person like maybe isn't competent or doesn't want to be there or do it, like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. Yeah. And then you're going to be in a position where you feel like I want to actually put their head underwater because I'm so like, we're not making any progress and I feel frustrated, right? So it's about finding the right people who want to be in the right rooms to do the right things. Like one of my favorite stories is like, I needed a videographer to help me out because my old videographer, his focus was mostly on the thing that he wanted to do, which is real estate. So, I just whipped out my phone. I'm like, hey, Vancouver videographers. Jay's one of the guys who responded. I'm like, hey, Vancouver videographers, like I need help. I'm working on projects. I'm looking for people to add to my team that are hardworking, that are passionate, that want to push the limits. And yeah, like me and Jay spoke before for a while, but then he saw that video, was like, yo, let's do it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And because he initiated, he wanted to be there. He has a skill set and he knows what he's good at and what he wants to do. And he wants to be a part of something that is going to actually, improve his lifestyle, improve his workflow and focus on the things that he loves. So finding the right people is so important. And the biggest thing for me was finding the right people that are passionate and share similar goals. Because you can waste a lot of time on people who might not be the right fit. Maybe they need more molding, or maybe they're head somewhere else and they have, personal things that they're going through. But if you find the right people, stick with them and grow with them because they're the ones who are going to be able to take you to the top.
Exactly. Yeah, you just say it all. Nothing to say to that, but it's also about doing some tangible action every day as a business owner. There's a lot of people who they talk too much. They don't do enough action.
True.
As a business owner, it's.
What are your non-negotiables as a business owner and a person and a partner? Like, what do you do in the day-to-day?
I mean, there's so many, and you start with one, like when first time I was in Vancouver, like I say, every day it's 1% better. So there's some day that you're going to feel like shit. There's some day that you're not going to do much, But I have a rule that if I start something, if I don't do it more than 2 days in a row, it's because I don't want it bad enough. So example for my business, since I started my business, I must have worked every single day on something. So it's just about doing something, stick to it for long enough, and do the work every day. And you're gonna see some result after like 6 months, a year. It took, maybe for me, it took a year before I can see some tangible action in my business. Can see some money, some good month. Before this, every month was just some hard work and hope that's gonna work. You know, even if I knew inside of me that's gonna work, but it's it's not beautiful. It's really lonely. So that's why, you need to put the action every day. You need to work hard, work smart, and like you say, find the good people who's gonna help you to scale your business, and they're gonna believe in the vision.
100%.
So
Awesome, man.
thanks, man. It was
Absolutely.
a great episode.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more in the future for
Talk
sure.
more for sure. Appreciate you, man.